When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis and Jared DuBois. We are live. We are talking soccer. The United States men's national team. Jared,
Football.
just about, let's say, 1 week and, I don't know,
Asleep.
20 hours? 20, whatever that is, 7 hours minus 4. Don't do math on the radio. This is a rule I definitely have. 24 minus 7. Jared, what is it? Quick, go. 24 minus 7, 17.
17.
1 week and 17 hours until the United States takes the field in Qatar. Do I have that right?
You got your days off secured at work?
Do I? Do you know what I do for a living? I don't know if you know what I do for a living.
WNBC. WNBC.
I may have days off or something off. I just don't know when, what, why, how. I don't know what's happening yet. Okay, I don't know what's happening yet.
I put a tweet out earlier this week, like, if you don't have your PTO days secured already, I feel it's safe for me to judge you. And I had multiple people come back to me like, oh yeah, I'm already soft quitting my job on next Friday. Like, multiple people, like, they're quitting their job.
Well, hey, man, that's what you got. This is a sacrifice you have to make. I've been telling people, I mean, obviously there's that. Like, get your ducks in a row with work. I've been telling people, talk to your families. Have the conversation. It might be too late now because you really did need to build up to it over months. But you should have had that conversation with your family. You can't be dropping, okay, the people who don't like soccer in your family, the people who expect you to be around for the holidays, you need to tell them, hey, look, I ain't doing no Christmas shopping. I'm not putting up the lights or the tree. I've got soccer to watch. I'm sorry. This is the way things have to be.
It's done by the afternoon every day. You got your evenings free.
This is true. If you're on the East Coast, you're done
This
by
is a
4.
good region in some
during
ways for the World Cup.
I mean, okay, let's just
some ways.
think about that. Okay, I was going
I'm
to
just
say
saying that strip of time zone. There was a lot of possibilities. Unfortunately, it's Qatar, but that strip of time zone works well for us.
Well, okay, but the first game during the group stage is at 2 a.m. your time, Mr. DuBois, out there on the fancy West Coast of the United States of America. You getting
11.
up at 1:30, 1:45? What are you doing? Are you doing it?
We're 11 a.m. out here.
The first game of the day is 5 a.m. East Coast time.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I mean, if it was USA, I'd wake up for it.
Hold on, wait, you're going to skip over a whole game every single day of the World Cup during the group stage because you just can't be bothered to get up at 2 in the morning?
I'm not watch every game of the World Cup guy. I'm not that person.
You're not?
No.
Okay, I might be.
No.
I might be.
I have a life.
Okay, well, you're talking about paid PTO days. That's for the national.
On that
US
day
national
off,
team.
I'll watch multiple games on that day off. You know, I'm already arranging at my work everyone's going to pull a team out of the hat, and that's their team for the World Cup.
Okay, so I want to do this real quick because I want you to give me your thoughts before we talk about the U.S. men. And the theme of the show today is what is a good World Cup for the U.S. men's national team. And obviously, we'll drop in thoughts about the roster. And everybody's healthy, right? Like we crossed our fingers and we prayed to the soccer
Josh Sargent
gods.
has maybe a little knock, but a tiny knock. It sounds like, but other than that, I think we're good.
I think he's good. The first guys arrived in Qatar. You see some pictures of Christian Pulisic getting there off the airplane. Okay, so I'm looking at the schedule. You just said you're not going to be getting up for that first game of the day. Let me go through this. So the very first game of the World Cup is Qatar and Ecuador. That's a week from today. That's 11. It's 8 a.m. your time. You can't get up at 8 a.m. on Sunday.
I'm not interested in that game.
Well, sure, but it's the first game. It's the opening game of the World Cup.
Name 3 players in that game.
Ecuador. Byron Castillo. Byron Castillo. I think
this is my point.
Hold on.
This is my point.
No, I think I just named a player that that they said faked his passport so he could play for Ecuador, but he's actually from Colombia. That's the only one I can remember.
Listen,
right now.
it could end up being a good game.
Nah,
but that's if I'm gonna base my day around something, it's not that one. You know.
No, I know. I'm just. It's the first game of the World Cup. Okay, I want. Well, now you got me curious. So I'm going to branch off here and just look at the Ecuador team. I don't know anybody in the Qatar team. That's definitely not. That's definitely true. Well, this is from November 2022. What are you doing here? Give me a World Cup squad for Ecuador. Have they not announced it yet? Maybe they haven't announced.
That's weird. If they're less than a week away, or exactly a week away from their first game.
I would expect that their team is basically settled.
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's just like I'm going to go after the big fish.
Okay. Byron Castillo, Diego Palacios. I don't know if he's in the final team. Diego Palacios, you know him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I couldn't name him, though.
Okay, so Jose Cifuentes just won an MLS Cup. Anyway.
Who?
All right. All right, so that's an 8 a.m. Sunday kickoff. You said you're not getting up. You don't care about that game. The next day, the day the United States opens up the World Cup, they play it at 11 a.m. your time. England and Iran kick off at 5 a.m. Are you getting up, Jared?
Yeah, I'll watch our group games. I'll definitely
You're
watch
going to
our
get up
group
for
games.
England and Iran at 5 a.m.? Awesome. I love it.
What
That's
day of the
good.
week is that again?
It's a Monday. It's the same day you have day off,
Yeah,
the day off
yeah,
for
I
the
got
US.
the day off. Why would I wait? I'll watch up. I'll wake up and watch that.
So
Probably.
what's the move, though? So you get up at 5 a.m. or a little bit before. How long does it take to clear your head so you can watch a game properly?
5 minutes. I am not. You know what it's like. You know what it's like this West Coast life. You know, it's great in the evenings for like all those late night games we talk about all the time,
Yeah.
where East Coasters are up at 2 a.m. English Premier League, anything
why we-
on that other hemisphere sucks on the West
That's why
Coast.
we disrespect all West Coast teams, is because we never see them play because it happens too late for us. Like the Dodgers, whatever. Talking about LA
yeah,
Galaxy.
half of MLS was surprised by LAFC.
So that's opening day. Senegal Netherlands happens at 11, which is not in our group, but I'll watch that game. That's an interesting game in Group A. And by the way, remember, Group A and Group B will meet in the round of 16. So
Yeah.
that group has some bearing if the U.S. gets out of the group. USA Wales is at 2. You're not going to get up at 2 a.m. for Argentina Saudi Arabia? You're see Lionel Messi play his first game
sorry,
at this
that's-
World Cup?
2 a.m. It's
No?
more like, am I going to go to bed? Not am I going to wake up? Like that's
That's right.
That's the
That's right.
conversation we're having with that one.
Okay, what about Denmark Tunisia at 5 a.m.? You going to watch that game?
No.
Christian Eriksen coming back? No? Okay.
But luckily, there's some great highlight packages that people put together. Like that's what I'm going to be working with.
Mexico, Poland,
What time?
no bearing other than our rival playing that game. That is the 8 a.m. kickoff for you on Tuesday.
Sure.
You're gonna get up for that. You're gonna be up for
Tuesday.
that one?
I'll be at work. I'll be just kind
Okay.
of by tuning. I got the USA days off. That's all I secured.
No, I
I've
know,
got
I know.
the 21st, the 25th, and the 29th. I got those secured. Everything else, weekends, highlight packages, lunch breaks. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Morocco, Croatia on Wednesday at 2 a.m. Germany, Japan at 5 a.m. Jared? No, Germany, Japan. That's an interesting one.
No.
No. Okay.
I'm not
Spain,
getting up at
Costa
5 a.m.
Rica.
for randos.
It's not randos. Germany's a former world champion. Japan
Does it
just
have
beat
a
the United-
U.S. player playing in it? No. I got a life, dude.
No, just saying, this is the World Cup. This is a commitment. This is what you're supposed to do if you
Yeah,
actually
you
care
know what? The
about
World
game.
Cup's gonna be over in a month, and I still got to feed my
How are we
family
ever
2
gonna
months
be?
from now.
How are we going to ever be a soccer nation if people don't get up at 2:00 in the morning to watch the World Cup? How are we ever going to
for my games?
for every game? Otherwise, you don't care enough.
Listen, you know what? I did it in 2002. I paid my dues then when I was a unemployed college student that was like just choosing not to go to bed every night. Like I paid my dues. I'm a 45-year-old man with this color hair, and I got bills.
Okay, all right, man. Yeah, you know, I haven't really commented. And you are getting the salt and pepper is strong over there, isn't it?
Come on, dude.
Strong.
Be nice.
No, I'm not saying.
I got
I'm
a
not saying
haircut
it's a bad
today, and it's
look.
every time I get a haircut, it's less and less brown. It's
I
scary.
got one yesterday. There's some in there. They're just not as populated.
I'm
as
running.
yours
At what
yet.
point can I not rock like spiky hair anymore, like punk rock style? Like, is it get tragic at some point? Like, this has been my hairstyle since like 2002.
Are you consistent with who you go to and where you go?
No.
Okay. Because I
It's not
feel
hard to
like
describe
this is the thing that's happened to me. I went to a barber shop. I made the mistake of going to the unisex parlor for a long time, and I think I'm going to have to make the transition to barbershop. Now it's a little bit more complicated because they're cash only, and I don't carry cash, and there's all these other things. But the price is about the same. It really doesn't matter. I feel like I'm going to get more consideration because I think if I go to the unisex shop and I sit down and they say, "Oh, look at this 40-year-old guy," they want to give me this boring ass
Republican.
haircut that I
The
really don't
Republican,
want.
I call it.
Exactly. Why I don't want that haircut. Why are you trying to give me that haircut?
They're gonna make you walk out with the gates. I mean, I hear it's hot with the youngins, but you gotta be careful.
I've seen that guy. Careful now. Careful. Whoa. I've seen that guy in person.
touch you?
He looks like a cartoon character. His face is huge.
Butthead. He's Butthead.
His face is huge. I was like, that can't be a real human being. Like it's like with that thing where actors are actors because they don't have normal proportions. They jump off the screen at you because they are weird.
I have a
they are
soccer
shaped.
version of this. I remember seeing. I went to the Galaxy Man City game, the famous one where
Mario Balotelli back heel. Yeah,
that game. I remember seeing James Milner in person and thinking, how is a human being built that way? Like, he is so thick and muscular. At least he wasn't that year. That was probably 2008 or something like that. But James Miller's still doing it these days. I mean, that's an amazing track record with that guy. But
I want to say that Gareth Bale's kind of in that area too. If you've ever seen him up close, like
I haven't seen him. Like, I've seen Beckham in his underwear in the locker room. That's been impressive as well.
Why are you bragging on the radio show? I mean, on the podcast.
Dude,
why are you bragging?
It made me question things.
All right, so you're not going to get up at 5 a.m. for the World Cup. 2 a.m. You're not definitely getting up at 2 a.m.
It's going to depend on the matchup, and like if I really feel like it,
I got to figure out how committed I am. I really do. I don't know. I want to watch all the games. I really do. I want to watch all the games.
If you're listening right now, call in and let us know what's a game that's not a USA game that you're going to wake up for, or that you're making your schedule around. Like, what's one that's motivating you outside the USA?
Okay, let me give you these options again. So the 5 a.m., which is 5 a.m. my time, the 2 a.m. your time. Let me give you those games. You tell me if any of them even rate above, like, maybe I'll get up. Argentina, Saudi Arabia. You already said no.
Nah.
Morocco, Croatia. You said no.
No.
Switzerland, Cameroon. You said no.
No, it's all first-round games. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Wales, Iran, which is our group.
Yes. Yeah, that's important to me. That's important to me.
2 a.m. kickoff, just so you know. Get yourself ready. That's
either not going to bed
That's
or waking
Black
up early.
Friday. That's Black Friday.
Yeah, I'm already up.
So you're up. You're up 2 a.m.
I'm getting all the deals at midnight. I'm in line at Walmart at midnight. I'm just going to come home and watch the game. I got to get that TV.
Tunisia, Australia. I'm going to guess that's a no. That's a Saturday, so I'm going to guess that's a no. Japan, Costa Rica on Sunday, November 27th. Cameroon, Serbia on November 28th.
No.
Ecuador, Senegal. That's at 10 a.m. Never mind. That's not 5 a.m. Now we get into later kickoffs for those next round of games.
I can't think of a first round game other than our group that I'm going to get up for because it's first round games. Like, listen, I'm going to have.
But you don't have to get up for those. That's the thing. I mean, it's 100% a FIFA move to be like, oh, there's a potential massive audience in the United States. We can't put these games early. Nobody will watch them. And Fox probably
has. Be the king, baby.
It's more like Fox is like, we agreed not to sue your asses into oblivion for moving this World Cup to November or December when we bought it at for the summertime, so you better put these games in the best possible situation.
Shout out to Connor Rivera in the chat. Last World Cup, I watched every single game. I'm planning on doing the same time this around. I mean, I don't know if Connor's stay-at-home dad these days or what. Like, maybe he works from home. He's got that life, but I just don't got that life.
Russia's time zone is better than Qatar, or this? I don't remember exactly. I'm pretty sure I watched a lot of games. I'm pretty sure I watched.
Well, it's your job. You should.
No, I know. There's that. But I mean, like, I could get away with not watching every game. I mean, I did a lot of post-game stuff. I did a lot of analysis stuff. But, I could get away with it if I wanted to, if sleep was more important. So, there you go.
I should have been one of those people that found a work-from-home job before the World Cup, I guess.
You mean for this one?
I think we got someone that wants to weigh in on the question on the line.
Don't go work for Twitter, because Elon will not let you work from home.
He's giving a lot of people off for World Cup.
That's unfortunate. We don't want those people to lose. We don't want people to lose their livelihoods because he's doing that. I did say. I don't think if I mentioned it to you. I did say, like, if Elon Musk drives Twitter off a cliff before the World Cup, how much are we going to miss out on that conversation happening? And how much, all the complaints about VAR, where do they go? You just yell them to your neighbor if you don't have Twitter to put them on? Is that how that
tough,
works?
man, because I ain't going back on that Facebook Live. I can't get back on that. That's
not happening. That is not. Everybody's on Mastodon. Are you coming over to Mastodon? Do you know what that is?
Listen, okay, here's my thing about this.
Okay.
If I go make a Mastodon account, how am I any different than all those freaking other side people that went and made, what's that other site they had that failed already? What was that one they all went to? All the
right wingers?
Yeah, what they
I
go
don't know.
to?
There's a bunch of things. There's
Truth Social.
Truth Social, or
Truth
the one
Social
before
is-
that.
That's
One
Trump's.
before
It still operates.
The other one,
Parlor's out there somewhere.
Why am I going to be part of that fire festival? Like, it's just going to be the same thing for the other side.
But okay, you haven't lived on Twitter like I've lived on Twitter, which I get. That's fine. You're more well adjusted.
There was a time where I was a big proponent of Twitter.
That's true. Let's go to the phone lines. Phone lines are open. You can see the number right there on the screen. I don't know which way to point. I can't do the Brady Bunch thing. Felix in Chicago, you're on the Best Soccer Show. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I wanted to talk about a couple of things that you guys are talking about. So the first one is the like the commitment to watching games. So I am definitely one of those ones. I watch as much as I possibly can. Even when I'm working, I'll just put like the games on my phone and just kind of like casually just kind of keep an eye on it unless I'm like doing something like super like just requiring all my brain power. But I will keep it on casually. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite sporting tournament, bar none. Any sport. I actually love the World Cup. I mean, everything about it, just the different games, the passion, even like the national anthems. I really nerd out on national anthems. I love all of that stuff. So I will watch as much as I possibly can. I can care less about who's playing, not playing, whatever, any of that kind of stuff.
There's a spectacle aspect, yeah.
All in. I can't.
Yeah,
I cannot wait. But I'm not putting that on anybody else. I'm just saying that's
No, do I enjoy the biathlon? No, but there's some spectacle with the Olympics that sometimes I watch stuff that
that's
I'm
the
not
one
that
you picked.
into.
The biathlon.
Got
That requires,
guns, dude.
The biathlon requires too much editing on the part of when they show it to us. They can't show us the whole thing. It takes freaking forever. The luge, the bobsled, ski jumping. Give me all that stuff. I love that.
There's a
ski
petition
jumping.
to get disc golf up in there. Make some chains at the Olympics.
Wait, what? Wait, are you serious? No. A petition among who? Like 12 guys who forget to sign because they're high as hell?
That's only the old school dudes are all hippies.
Okay, I know. Serious business, that disc golf. All right, what else you got, Felix?
Yeah, and then I tried to call in when the roster came out, and I had a bunch of connection problems. But there was something I kind of wanted to bring up as it relates to the roster. If I can jump back to roster talk.
Do it.
Some interesting stats. So I actually put together some interesting data. I think it's interesting around the roster, U.S. roster specifically. All of like going to post MLS era. So anything post 1996, right? So some interesting things to think about when we're thinking about the rosters and how little correlation there is until the makeups of the roster in terms of how successful the team is. And let me explain what I'm trying to say. So 2002, which we all know to be the most successful U.S. World Cup, right, in the modern era, that team was made up of around 11, 12 MLS guys, right? And about 6 to 7 started every game. And that's the team that made it all the way to the quarterfinals, as we know, and gave the eventual runners-up an actual run for their money, right?
Yeah.
The team that had the least amount of MLS players was, I don't know if you guys know this, it was 2010. Bob Bradley only brought 4 MLS guys for 2010 World Cup.
Okay, wait. Stop, Felix. Can you name them, Jared? It's like impromptu
The 4?
mini Rastafari in 2010. I can name
2010 was
Hold
South
on.
Africa.
Yeah, South Africa. Wait,
Hercules Gomez.
Right.
Herc,
Robbie Finley.
Robbie Finley.
No.
What?
Yeah.
Herc was in Mexico, I think, right?
First was with Puebla. Yeah.
He was
he's
in
in Puebla at the
Puebla.
time? Okay,
He was in
sorry.
Puebla.
Robbie Finley. Donovan.
Landon Donovan, yeah.
Let's see. In the back, let's see. No.
Rico
Ornstein?
Clark on that team. Rico Clark on that team.
Bornstein?
No.
Rico might have been in Germany
Yeah.
when he did. Okay,
Where was Bornstein?
Rico
Was
was
he
in
Mexico?
Germany.
I got one.
Ornstein- Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Edson Buttle.
Edson Buttle.
He was
Yeah.
in Germany?
That's before.
He was at the Galaxy.
Okay,
So
so
who
what
they
was the
were-
forward of Felix? Can you
Felix,
cap
who
him?
were they?
You just said them. Yeah, you just said them.
Which 4? We said a lot of names.
Donovan, Buttle, and Bornstein. Yeah.
Okay. So
Who was the
Bornstein
first one?
there.
He was. We'd stepped on him
Rico.
again. Rico. Okay, Rico was in MLS at the time.
No.
Okay.
Rico Clark was in Germany at that time.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
Okay. Buttle. Sorry about that.
No. Buttle, Donovan.
Yeah.
Who? Do it again. Everybody stepping on each
Finley.
other. Finley.
Finley, Donovan, Buttle, and Bornstein. were the
Okay.
4.
Okay. Bornstein. Okay.
Super friends.
There we go.
And on average, about 2 or 3 MLS guys started. On average, 2 or 3 MLS guys started. So that would be where, if you're going to talk about, like, the constant, as we all know, the argument between the MLS and the Euro snob type of thing. That was the team that had the least amount of MLS guys, and that team made it to the round of 16 and got kind of lost to Ghana, as we know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting from that perspective. That was MLS guys, whether heavy MLS or not heavy MLS, it didn't really seem to matter. If you're talking about actual correlations, though, to roster makeups and the team not being successful. I thought there was two interesting stats. One, our worst World Cups have all been in Europe, if you guys have ever thought about that. 1990, 1998, and 2006. Those have been our worst World Cups, right? And the other one I thought was interesting. The team that had the most amount of World Cup veterans starting, those were the worst World Cups that we've had.
Okay.
So 98 and 2006, we were very heavy on World Cup veterans in comparison to other rosters that we brought. And those were our worst World Cups.
Yeah, but the European hosted World Cups are always going to be hard for teams in regions like the United States because it's more often than not we usually get two European countries based off of the confederation that we come out of.
So I see what Felix is doing. I mean, he's just giving information, right? I'm not saying there's any bias in the information necessarily.
No, it's up to us to decide context.
But I think it's important to point out that so much of the World Cup and what happens to a team that is not a world power. So if you're not Brazil, you're not Argentina, you're not, I don't even know, Germany's usually in that mix, but of course they got bounced in the group stage last time around. So much of it is dependent on draw, and so much is dependent on just the breaks. I mean, it's not like the U.S. goes to the World Cup and gets blown out 4-0, right? And it's not like they go to the World Cup and beat teams, even weak teams, by 3 or 4 goals. It's always, doesn't matter. The playing field gets leveled out and everybody is just this close to one another. And yes, there's a difference in quality. So a Lionel Messi Argentina team is going to have a huge edge over anybody they play for the most part until the knockout rounds because they have that extra bit of quality. But there's going to be 80 minutes of just slogging it out and not great soccer. This is why any big scoreline in the World Cup is surprising. Because it just doesn't happen. I mean, when Germany destroyed Brazil in 2014, that was like the shock of all shocks, and those were two great teams. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm just wondering if this is correlation or causation, Felix.
What's the question, Jason? I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering if you have a thought on correlation versus causation.
Well, for the European stuff, no. I don't know why we tend to do that in Europe. The thing about the high amount of World Cup veterans, my argument would be that a team with heavy on World Cup veterans, they're guys who are making the team based on what they did previously, not what they've done in the last year to warrant that starting spot or warrant that spot in the roster. And they're starting over maybe younger guys who are probably who are probably going to be more effective, but they're not making the team because the coach is kind of leaning on the veterans. That would be my theory on why you see that.
What's interesting about that, Felix, is that while I think that there's a possibility that for the United States and the unique kind of program it is that's only been relevant for the last 30 years, et cetera, it's a growing soccer country and we're getting better talent with each subsequent generation. If you go and look, Michael Cox wrote a piece for The Athletic, I think last week, in which he said the formula for winning a World Cup, obviously the United States is not in that category yet, but the formula for winning a World Cup is to go with guys that that have been sort of consistent for your national team, not with the new guy on form. Because if you go with the new guy on form, you don't know what's going to happen at that. I'm not saying that it's universal, but his point was don't go get the hot hand because he scored a bunch of goals right before the World Cup. Go get the guy that you can trust. Now, Berhalter doesn't have that luxury in a lot of his.
So we're supposed to blame Haji
choices.
Wright then?
No, well, again, I don't know that there's a massive difference between Haji Wright and Ricardo Pepi when you get down to it for the World Cup. I know people are pushing this narrative that Ricardo Pepi deserves to be on the World Cup. We already said deserving got nothing to do with it. It's just not how it works. But even if you want to get to that place,
#Vibe Squad.
The bottom line is that neither one of them have been consistent regular goal scorers for the national team long enough, or at all in Haji's case, to demand a place. Even Ricardo Pepi, who scored goals in qualifying, hasn't been consistently that guy. He wasn't Brian McBride coming into this World Cup. He wasn't a guy that you were like, oh, I have to take, or he scored enough goals that he's the guy I trust.
Take one to the face like that and keep going. I don't know.
What I'm saying is, if Ricardo Pepi had 2 years, and he's too young for this to even be a factor, but if he had 2 years of consistent goal scoring for the national team, and then you get to the World Cup and Berhalter says, no,
that's
Haji
fair.
Wright because he scored more recently, that would be a mistake in my
That's
mind.
fair. We're not
I don't
talking
see
about this
one.
at Josie Altidore level, like contributing
Right.
to the national team. That's being left
Exactly.
off right here.
Exactly.
Felix, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I want to talk real quick. Can we
Actually, I have
take-
a couple more stats. If you guys,
Do you want more stats
more
from Felix?
interesting things.
Felix, I love you, but I don't want more fat.
couple
more
more
stats right
things.
now.
okay, no, I had a couple more interesting things, but that's
We
fine.
got some other people in the chat that want to contribute. So I'm gonna
Okay, I'm going to let Felix go. Jared's pulled a he's pulled rank on Felix.
we got other people that want to contribute too. So Connor had
Yeah, I
this good
love Felix,
question,
though.
and we didn't talk about this yet. Like, real quick, 3 names: winner, dark horse, biggest disappointment, World Cup. Who are you gonna go
man.
with, Jason?
I
Wanna
did
start with
this.
winners?
Yeah, I did this for World Soccer Talk. Asked me to do my picks. So give me a second so I can pull them up so I don't make.
Okay, well, I'll go with
a
mine
mistake
first. Then
here.
that way you can get your make sure you don't double dip on your picks over there.
Yeah,
No one wants to call Jason a flip flopper, you know.
exactly. That's right. That's right.
So for me, winner, I would think warm, temperate World Cup. I think it has to favor the South Americans, and I think the Brazilians have a incredibly strong talent side coming. I'm going to take Brazil, which is probably chalk for a lot of people, but over the last couple World Cups, maybe they haven't been as chalky as in the past. So, but I'm going to go with Brazil on this one.
Okay, I'm taking. I think I'm taking Argentina.
I think that's fair too.
I think, at that point, you are picking between, again, the best teams in the world, Argentina and Brazil. I think probably Brazil has the wealth of attacking or the advantage in attacking talent, but I wonder about them defensively at this level in that crucial moment. By the way, these teams cannot play in the final. They can only play in a semi. So we could get a Brazil-Argentina semifinal, which would be incredible. But I think I got to pick. And there's sentiment there. Like, I would love to see, if I'm going to pick somebody to win the World Cup, then I want it to be Messi on his way out the door.
Okay. Let's see. The next one is dark horse. Did you have a dark horse pick you made for World Soccer Talk, or is that?
I did. Apparently, I said the United States of America was my dark horse. I don't think I said that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at the email.
Soccer
that I
Eagle,
sent.
baby. You gotta go with what you know.
Man, I'm looking
know?
at this posting, and I don't think I've.
I'm
Oh
gonna
wait,
go-
you know what? Apparently, I picked France. This must have been before some injuries or something happened. I picked France to win the World Cup. I'm surprised by that too. But okay.
Yeah, a couple of Pogbas and stuff. No, I'm not going to be around for that. So I'm going to take for my dark horse, and I think they're a little past it at this point. But once again, like I said, I think in terms of temperate climate, a team
Wait a
that's been playing
second.
together.
Wait a second.
Don't
I'm
interrupt me.
sorry.
You can
I'm
correct
sorry.
yourself later.
Okay, all right. I'm just annoyed now because whatever got posted is not what I sent off to the guy. So go ahead.
So I think a team that, like I said, maybe a little past it in some ways, but has been together for quite some time now, the core, I'm going to go with Uruguay as my dark horse.
Okay, you're gonna go with Uruguay as your dark horse. Let's see. I actually picked Brazil to win the whole thing initially. So
Yeah, it makes
whatever.
sense.
Doesn't matter. I don't even care. Brazil, Argentina, they could win it. I don't think France is going to win it. I don't know why I would have picked them. So that's definitely wrong. I said when he asked me about dark horse, said which team do you think can turn heads as an underdog and go for a little run for glory? I actually said Canada. That's not a dark horse to win the tournament. That's just Canada could go a little deeper than maybe people are expecting them to go. If there's a dark horse in the tournament, I mean, Uruguay is always an interesting choice because they have the talent. They have enough talent to get to a semifinal, and then it's just, can they finish the job out?
Nikki
that
Soup and
point.
Salad wants to weigh in on so far. Nikki
Okay,
Soup and
let-
Salad.
Let me
we
play
got
the man
joke
in
here.
this time because I didn't do it last time.
The Sausage King of Chicago.
There you go.
So I'm on a little bit of a streak here. On my 2 previous podcasts that I used to host,
Okay.
I predicted Germany in 2014. I predicted France in 2018.
Oh,
You chose
okay.
chalk.
I was right,
Okay.
Yeah, I
One
mean,
of
it
those
doesn't
is a
matter
home team,
chalk
by
or
the way,
not.
too.
but I'm going with Argentina
You're going with Argentina. Okay.
as my
Argentina?
winner.
Okay, I think it's a good call. It really is. I think that Brazil, Argentina. I think the white people are going to melt in Qatar. I think it's going to be a tough one.
Well, some of these teams are multicultural, Jared. So let's not get into a whole.
I just want a
white
Fools
people
Rush In reference. That's all I wanted. I love that movie.
Right. Yeah. What is it?
Would you
and
Get a-
consider
dark horse?
a
Are you gonna do
surprise
dark
or
horse?
dark horse be Belgium? That's not really a dark horse.
No, I think
though,
Belgium
right?
could be
That's a tough one.
I mean, well, okay. Where are they ranked right now?
Top
Two?
5.
Are they 2 or 3 in the world right now?
A lot of people in the chat are saying Denmark, and I see why they would say.
I was
why
also
they would
leaning
say
there
that.
too.
Denmark is a good dark horse. Denmark's the most
question
popular
is,
dark horse.
Denmark is where Belgium was like 2 cycles ago. Like, is it too early for Denmark, or is now their time? I think that's the question when you talk about that.
Okay, how about this for a dark horse? You tell me if this counts. The Netherlands. Could you see them as a
That's
dark
a solid
horse?
shout.
It's a decent one because they're always perennial round of 16, semis, quarters. Like they are always in the mix somewhere in there without making that deep run. Other than the Ribéry and what was it? Was it in Germany? Is that where they made that really deep run with? I'm trying to think. They made this semi.
They went to the
2014.
they went to the final. They went to the final
Yeah.
against
2010.
against Spain. Yeah, they lost that
against Spain,
final.
excuse me, against
That was
Spain,
the De Jong karate kick game.
Well, they
Yeah.
it just happened to come across one of the best generational teams of all time in Spain.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
Spain-
the U.S.
Spain.
didn't have any problem with them.
Yeah, well,
in the
but Spain won that game
Confederations Cup,
This is my point. Spain won that game 1-0. I mean, they won that game 1-0. It was it was like this. That margin was like this.
I
do
know.
you-
I
do you
said
think it-
Ribéry. I didn't mean Ribéry. I meant the guy that played the Bayern Munich with Ribéry. I apologize.
You meant
That's
Robin.
wrong.
You meant
I meant
Ryan
Robin.
Robin.
Ryan Robin,
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, Ribéry is French.
I meant Robin.
Do you think it matters? So obviously, part of this is like finish first or second. But do you think would your dark horse be affected by knowing who plays whom at what point in the tournament? So like group winner A, the winner of Group C plays the runner up of Group D, that kind of thing. Does that matter? Because then obviously you get a
I think
difference in
that's
where
too
they are in the
much
bracket.
gameplay. You're going. I just gut feeling. That's what I'm going with. Just gut feeling. I don't know what the matchups are going to be after the first round. None of us are going to know for sure what that's going to be. I just feel like just
Yeah.
playing. And
Well,
then, for disappointment, it could be the U.S. But I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to
No,
think.
I don't think the U.S. Okay, this. So the whole show today was built on this premise of what is a good World Cup. What is expectation?
And I think this is a good lead
I don't-
into that.
So look, unless the U.S. goes 0 for 3 and maybe scores a goal in the tournament, 2 goals in the tournament, unless they throw up that level of an egg, it can't be a disappointment. I just don't think it can. So, well, okay. Obviously, there's a level for that, but I just don't know. You think they're going to go 0 for 3 and be the disappointment at the World Cup?
I mean, we just watched them play 2 horrible games leading into this, but that goes to who I'm going to pick for my actual disappointment.
You're gonna read too much into
I'm going to
friendlies?
go
really?
with my actual disappointment, and I'm going to agree with Conor Rivera right here. I think it could be England. I think England's
Could be
not
a
looked good
disappointment?
going into this. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
let's say they qualify second. I think they get out of the first round. Out of the first round, now they've got a tough matchup in the first round. They get bounced out in the round of 16. That's a big disappointment. I could see that happening to England. They could also make a deep run. No one really knows what this England team's going to do right now because we watched for 4 years now them being one of the top 5 teams in the world, look really good. But just down the stretch right here, it hasn't been confident, and they've got some key injuries that they've got to replace. Not to say they don't have a lot of depth, but
I mean, give me a key injury. What's the key injury?
Reece James, Chilwell.
Okay, Reece James. So at wing back, they have an issue, right?
They play 4-3-3. It's an important position.
They play a 3-man. They play a 3-man back line with wing backs.
Sorry, they
2
play
holders and a 3-man front line. So it's a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2. You want to look? No, that's not right. Sorry.
My point is they're
it's a
playing with
3-man
wing
front
backs.
line.
They're playing wing backs, which are important
Yeah.
positions for them.
Yeah, right. And they do suffer a bit with the injuries with Chilwell out, with James certainly out. That's a big one for them. I understand. You have Kieran Trippier's there, right, as an option, and Luke
And
Shaw
Walker
on the
made the
other
team.
side.
I think some people thought Walker wasn't going to be fit for it.
Walker could be a option there too. That's the weak. If there is one, that's that and the mobility of the center backs. That's the issue that people point to, right?
And unfortunately, USA is
Now-
not going to test that.
The mobility of the center backs.
Yeah, I don't think
so. Well, yeah,
Maybe if
I
Weah
suppose
gets
what I've
behind. I think that's
said-
the only potential for that.
But that's the game that you play Ferreira
to suck
and
the
you're
center
trying
backs
to
out,
draw them out, create space in behind, and you get runs in, and Ferreira helps facilitate those. I mean that's your hope if you're the U.S. men's national team. They're strong in those 2 holding midfield positions, right? They're locked down in those 2 holding midfield positions, and then they have Harry Kane, who can win games all by himself and is an incredible facilitator.
I gotta say,
to goal scoring.
he's one of the first people this season I saw Tyler Adams get put in someone's pocket. Harry Kane really turned Tyler Adams a few times in that Leeds game this weekend. So, like, and I've thought Taylor Adams has looked really,
By the
really
way,
good
can I
this
just
year.
say, I'm
It's
going
also
to
Harry
call
Kane.
I'm going to call bullshit on Kane's goal. That was bullshit. How did they not call that?
The
that back?
interference on the keeper?
Oh
On the
my
corner kick?
god!
Yeah,
You
that was pretty rough.
bodied, and they're like, nope, that's all good. Let Harry have that one. Anyway, I don't want to get into Leeds United, but okay, so we're not here to talk about England, really, unless you want to throw them up as a potential disappointment. I think that look,
Who's your disappointment, by the way, before you move on?
I mean, I haven't really thought about this. I'll just say Belgium. Belgium always seems to disappoint on some level.
Okay.
They're supposed to win it and they don't. Now they make the knockout rounds, but there you go. I mean, I don't know. This tournament as a rule gives us surprises. Now the champion tends to be a country we expect to win it, or at least we have some notion that they're going to win it, right? When Spain won in 2010, they added themselves to that list, but they were also incredible.
People knew it was coming up. They knew it was a generation
we knew
coming
that was probably going to happen in that generation of players.
I think maybe Italy 94 is one of the last times I have to go back to where maybe everyone knew Italy was good, but I don't know if anyone expected them to win necessarily. It was still Brazil at that time.
Yeah, but I mean, but there's nobody else. So unless Belgium really bucks up and makes this generation count and wins a World Cup, I don't think England is. I mean, they made the semifinals last time. They made a European final. I guess.
Maybe
I mean,
that Italian team was pretty stacked. Now I think.
I'm just Baggio and all that. Yeah, come on. I don't know. I just don't know that there's going to be like a shock winner, but I also think there could be some surprises. Germany not getting out of the group stage last time. Nobody saw that coming.
No.
Right? Nobody saw that they were champions in 2014. They blew everybody out of the water. They destroyed Brazil on their way to the title. I mean, I think they won 1-0 against Argentina in the final, but they were still incredible. And then they lay an egg in 2018.
Yeah, there's teams like that. Portugal 2002, France. What was it? 2010 when they had the.
By the way, you
fallout?
want a dark horse? I know they've won a Euro. You want a dark horse? Portugal's a dark horse. If they can figure out the Ronaldo problem, Portugal's a dark horse. They got the talent to do it for sure.
Is he a starter on that team still?
He shouldn't be. And maybe chirping about Manchester United will get him out of that lineup too, if they have some.
All right, but this leads us to our main topic for tonight, though. Like, what is success for the U.S.? What is success? What's a disappointment? Where do we draw the line? And we said it before too. And I think we both on record on what level of success. There's a couple different things. There's acceptable. Keep your head that. There's true success of like, hey, overshot, but the top end ceiling of what we think they can do, and then where in there is Berhalter's safety?
Okay, let's put this into three different categories. Okay, let's put this into three different categories. Let's put it in. Let's describe or four. Let's do disaster, disappointing, meeting expectations, or okay, that's pretty good, and then holy shit, I can't believe they did that. Those are your four categories. Okay. Where do you want to start? You want to start the negative and go up? Let's do that.
Yeah, give me the first one. What was the first one?
Disaster. What constitutes disaster?
Okay, but we're talking about 2006 Germany. We're talking about like worse than that because there was a draw in the Germany one, if I remember correctly, right?
Right. How many points is necessary for it to be a disaster? Is 1 point a disaster?
Even one's a disaster. Even one's a disaster.
So 2 losses and a draw, that's a disaster. I mean, that makes sense.
So.
I feel that's right.
I think so.
Okay.
0 to 1 point is disaster.
Okay. 2 points, a couple of draws, and you lose the other game. Still a disaster, depending on who you draw.
Man,
I guess.
what was the next step up from disaster? What'd you say?
That would be
disappointment. 2 points gets me to disappointed, I think, because that means you got 2 results at least. There's 2 results in there. Now, if it's 2 points on 0 goals and there's 0-0 draws, that to me is still a failure. I mean, if we couldn't score a goal in those, and we had to rely on 0-0 draws.
It's a combination of points and performance, obviously.
Yeah,
it's not just about like how many points you get. All right, so let's say they win once and lose twice. 3 points total from not 3 draws, which it's slightly different flavor, but 3 points from a win.
3 points and not advancing, which I don't think anyone ever advances on 3. 4 is where
4 is really where you need to be. Yeah.
So 3, I think that's a disappointment. I think I can live with it, but I'm not happy.
Okay, if they win a game, I will say that if they win a game but don't get out of the group, I'll call that a disappointment, but not a disaster. So disaster,
3 draws is still a disaster. 1 win is disappointment. That's 3 results, dude. That means you got a result against England.
3 draws is not a disaster, but you're not getting out of the group, so it's a disappointment.
Yeah,
right?
that's the thing. I think 3 is a
Okay.
level disappointment no matter
I think
how you get
3
those 3
points. 3 points in general is disappointment, but not disaster.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
2 and below is disaster, and obviously there's a
Agreed.
matter of the goal scored and how you play.
I think that's where the line is.
Okay, so in terms of like.
Disappointment
Okay.
is also 4 points in not going through, which is an option.
That's disappointment because of the circumstance,
Sure,
not
it's still
necessarily because of a
disappointment.
poor performance. No, sure, but I'm saying disappointed in the team or
But you're
disappointed
talking
in
about
what
goal
happened.
differential then probably. If you're not making
Yeah.
you're probably talking about goal differential. That's still disappointment.
Yeah.
That's something you could control.
Okay, that's true. Okay. Then okay, there's other permutations here that I don't know. We're getting really weeded if I say like beat England, draw Iran, lose to Wales.
Yeah, but you know what? Those were the teams in front of us. You know, like I just
Right.
I'm
Beat-
really
beat
disappointed. That
England.
means the hardest game we did something we couldn't do anything against the Lessers, and that's how we qualify as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Think about our
Yeah.
qualification. How many
So-
times
so
did we get
if they-
results against
if-
Mexico, but we can't
if
do
they-
anything against
if they
Honduras?
if they beat England 3-0, but lose to Wales and Iran 1-0 in both games, disaster or disappointment?
Disappointment. That's 3 points.
Okay.
I said that's my disappointment line.
Okay, you're right. Okay, all right. So then we go up to a level of okay, passable, I guess, or okay, you feel pretty good about it, but it's not like they've overachieved. Where would that level be? That's getting out of the group, right? So 4 points and getting out,
Yeah, I think
and then
4
losing in the round of 16.
anywhere from 4 to 5 points in losing in the round of 16 is what do we call that one? What did you just say it was?
I mean, I don't have a perfect
Like content?
description.
Contentment?
Okay, content. So, well, yeah, that's
Contentment.
a good one. Yeah, we're
Contentment.
We're content.
Because you controlled your destiny in the group phase, and you
Yeah.
probably got a tough matchup. It really depends how you play in that round of 16 game. I guess that's part of it.
Because somebody pointed it out. It's not. I mean, the Dutch are the favorites to win that group, Group A.
Yeah.
Then you have Qatar, Ecuador, and Senegal. So if Mane is healthy and Senegal's got some mojo going into this, then
Is
maybe
there still the record of no home team has ever not made it out of round of 16? Or has South Africa ruined
South
that?
Africa did not get out of the group.
Okay, but I think you're looking at the second time that happens here.
You think so? Okay.
You think
I
Qatar's
didn't pick
advancing
them-
over Ecuador or Senegal?
I didn't pick them out to get out either, but it's just history says they're going to get out somehow. It just
I
does.
don't know.
They'll
man.
pay someone off.
Nicky,
Nick and I-
Nicky with the vanished heat.
Nick and I have both been watching the FIFA doc on Netflix, so that's where that comes from.
Okay, I didn't think about
by
that.
the way,
Yeah.
by the way, I mean, look, I know it's a world where people are not always open-minded and accepting and whatever, but to watch the Qatari dude sit there and say, when all this criticism came after we won, I was so depressed. And he wipes away a tear. It was bordering on racism. It's like, come on, dude. You paid everybody to get the damn World Cup. What did you think was going to happen? Everybody knew. Everybody knew. But-
Contentment is a very small window, I think. Because then after that, you instantly go to that next
Yeah.
level, like
Well,
satisfaction.
okay,
you know,
there is an
joy.
okay. So I guess it doesn't matter, right? Because we've been here before. Although this group being what it
it's
is,
young.
maybe
It's so young.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so in 2010, you get out of the group, you win the group, right? Last group stage match against Algeria, get the goal, you win the group, you go into that next match against Ghana, you push them all the way, or they push you, whatever. It goes all the way to extra time, and Asamoah Gyan does Asamoah Gyan stuff, and we lose. Disappointment, right? Felt really, I mean, after 2006, you would think, okay, fine, we got out of the group, that's something. But we felt crushed by that. I remember feeling crushed by that. 2014, you get out of the group, which was an achievement because Portugal, Germany, and Ghana, that's
Yeah, for sure.
that's killer. But then you get romped by, you go into extra time, like you go all the way to extra time, but you get romped by Belgium based on the balance of play. I mean, how do you feel about that one?
I was content with
Okay,
that. I
okay,
was there.
fair
but
enough,
here's my
fair
thing. Here's my bold prediction for you. The USA either doesn't make it out of the group or makes quarterfinals. I don't think this U.S. team I don't think this team loses in the round of 16. And here's why. If this young team, who has nothing to fear, gets some modicum of success and traction, this is Vibe Squad, right? That's what we've taught. This is Vibe Squad. If they start getting a little bit of belief in themselves, I don't think they come out. If they come out of the group and they get a round of 16 matchup, I think they can overshoot. And I think they go past that.
Look, I think anything's
I don't know if they
possible.
get past the quarterfinal, though.
I think anything's possible. I'm seeing the full range, and this is where we are as a program, where we are as a soccer nation, where we are with this group. I'm seeing the full range. I'm seeing people say, we're getting out of the group. Everybody get ready. We're going to surprise everybody, or this young group, the Vibe Squad is going to surprise everybody, whatever. And then I'm seeing we're going to crash out. Going to be a disappointment. I'm not going to name names, but somebody behind the scenes said the United States is going to be the biggest disappointment at this tournament. I mean, I don't understand where that comes from necessarily, because, again, based on the fact we didn't qualify for 2018, we have the youngest squad in the tournament. To call any performance the biggest disappointment would definitely mean 0 points, 0 goals. Only then would I get to a point of like, oh, they can be the biggest, because some big nation is going to go out in the group stage. Somebody we don't expect to go out in the group stage is going to go out.
Goals. That is my biggest fear is 0 goals. That's
they'll
a
score.
possibility.
They'll score. I think they'll score. I mean, yeah, I think they're going to score. I don't know. I can't tell you.
We're going to listen back to this in 2 weeks and be like, what the hell were we thinking? Of course they were going to score goals. And they were going to make it
I mean, I hope so.
But there's just that national Americanness, and it's just like,
so what you said, I know. We have doubt about our soccer. We just do. I get it.
Yeah. But
what you said is that they're either going to crash out in the group stage or they're going to go to a quarterfinal. If they reach a quarterfinal, that's the moonshot. That's like we couldn't have really fully
that's equaling 2002.
properly expected that. Right. That's equal. Well, 2002. Winning the group with the round 16 match and going to the quarterfinals.
Germany, yeah.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah. And
so let's go on the record though. What is your actual prediction for how far the U.S. will go?
Man, I think they're going to get out of the group. I think they're going to finish second in the group, and then lose in the round of 16. I know you said that you can't see that one happening. It's either one or the other.
I just think they ride a wave if they get out. So I'm going to say quarterfinals
and they get the
Dutch. Not even worry about it.
I just can't see them beating the Dutch in the round of 16. I just can't see that. I can see them. Look, I can see them.
You don't think Security Death is going to go off?
I can see them finding a way to beat Wales and draw Iran, or the other way around. They might even be able to pull a point off of England. I think it's possible. I'm not saying it's likely. I think it's possible. I think that game could get very bogged down in midfield. It might be not a lot of real clear chances. I don't know.
You realize if we match up with the Netherlands,
yeah,
Serginho Dest, who plays on the right, beats the left fullback. What did he just do?
What did he do?
From their perspective.
Come on, man.
From the Dutch perspective, he passed the Dutchie on the left-hand side.
See, like walking it up to there. Like, hit it, go. All
right, so we're both on record then with what we think is going to happen. You're saying round 16. I'm saying quarterfinals and hating myself a little bit, but that's it. I'm going to dare to dream. I'm going to dare to dream.
Dare to dream.
Can we go to my little segment that we have?
We can shift now into something that Jared has prepared for us. And I think what's important to the context of this is that several people, but I think most notably Clint Dempsey, has said something like, it's not really fair to say this is the best U.S. team of all time, talent-wise.
I agree
because they haven't done anything, blah, blah, blah. And there's certainly this whole thing about, like, okay, look at the clubs next to these players' names. That's a next level for the U.S., but are they this? Are they that? Are they golden generation?
Yeah, does Pulisic ever end up at Chelsea if Dempsey hadn't knocked down some
there's some of that too,
you know?
Right. If Clint Dempsey was born 10 years later, would he have made a top 4 team in England? Would he have been? I mean, he almost went to Liverpool. Would he have ended up at a top 4 team before they were this Liverpool?
So my thought experiment was, if you were going to make an all-time men's national team 11, and that's nothing new, people have done this, but if you make an all-time men's national team 11 right now. Mm-hmm. How many guys that are on this World Cup squad would you put in your best all-time 11 as they are currently? Not who they're going to be in 5 years. You don't know. These guys can be injured at the World Cup and never play again. You don't know.
You do realize that this is biased against the new guys.
Sure.
Because we have a full body of work for the old guys.
Absolutely. But this is just about like there's people out there saying that this is the best people ever right now. Like some of these guys, and I think I think there's credence to say some of that. I have some guys from this team in my all-time 11. Like I would pick them right now in spots on the all-time 11.
So let's we can't do this because I think bias is baked into the question. But let's try to do this on talent. Not, I think it would be fairer to the new generation to do it on talent, not on what they accomplished. Because again, nobody's accomplished what Clint Dempsey has as a national team player, or even in their club career. I mean, outside of, and you could argue about Pulisic and winning a Champions League, but in terms of consistency over years at a top level, not sure there's anybody that can compete with that. So, is that what you're saying? Like in terms of
there
talent,
may be guys right now that are better than the best person we've had in that position ever.
Okay, all right.
I think that's fair to
That's
say.
fair. Okay, that's fair. Let's go.
All right, so first of all, we'll start at goalkeeper. And for me, this is a two-man race. It was none of the guys that are playing right now. It's either Tim Howard or Casey Keller for me.
Yeah.
I was always a Keller over Friedel guy. That myself, I'm going with Howard in this position.
I think probably it's Howard. It's close, but it's probably Howard.
Okay, along the back line, where do you want to start?
So we're going 4-man back line, I would imagine.
I did a 4-3-3 in this.
Let's go left to right.
Right,
So
I did
left
4-3-3,
back.
and it's kind of ironic because most of these guys played in a 4-4-2. But
Exactly. So positionally,
said,
there's
left back?
some mismatch. Left back.
So left back
for
now,
you.
this is one of the positions where I did pick someone new. I picked Anthony Robinson, and this is a statement on how poor we've been at left back for so long. You think
Yeah.
about the people he's going up against here. You're talking about David Regie. You're talking about Eddie
Johnny
Lewis
Bornstein?
as a confirmed left back. Jonathan Bornstein. I mean, it's not a
DMB.
deep conversation. DMB, but if you're picking DMB, you're not picking the left back version of DMB.
No,
You're picking
he
the
wasn't
winger.
as good as a left back. He was better as a winger. Yeah.
I think this is pretty easily to say that Anthony Robinson, as he is right now, is
Yeah.
better at left back than any option we've had
I
before.
think if I'm putting together a team to win a game, if I'm doing some FIFA Ultimate thing or whatever, then it's probably. I mean, that's not what
and listen,
he.
and Danny's. I mentioned Danny put here Eddie Lewis, but if you think about Eddie Lewis, he was a winger. He converted
a
the
winger.
left back as a
was a
need.
winger.
It's not like that was his position. I wouldn't say he was better than Anthony Robinson is right now.
What about Fabian Johnson?
He played right back. I mean, if he's
Did
a
he?
right-footed player that played left back for us, just that we would do with
I
Serginho
see.
Dest.
I see what you're saying. So
Timothy
you're not going
Chandler
to
was
flip
playing
flop
the
a
right.
guy.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I still think, I think Fabian Johnson is best is not as good as Anthony Robinson. I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay, no. I don't have beef with this one. I think you're right. I think again, you could
I
say
think
like,
it's the
oh,
easiest chalk to put in for of the new guys. If you were going to put
Okay.
someone in, I think this is the easiest place in the field to put someone for the new
all
squad.
right. So let's stay at fullback and flip to the other side before we do center backs. Then tell me fullback. Tell me right back.
Right back, for me, this is a pretty easy. I think there's just one person's heads and tails above it. Right back over the history of his national team. She's Steve Cherundolo.
Okay, so again, are you thinking of, okay, I want to win a game, who's my best option at right back? I'm going to go with Steve Cherundolo, or are you thinking, I got this thing as affinity for him because of how good he was for so long? And
I'm thinking that a defender's first responsibility is to defend.
Okay. No, I have no beef with it then. I mean, again, if you start talking about Serginho Dest, you're talking about better skill, better talent in certain areas of the game. I'm not saying he's a better overall player than Steve Cherundolo, but in terms of his ability with the ball, his attacking abilities, he is better than Dolo. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's a better right back than Dolo, right?
And it's not to say Cherundolo couldn't get forward either, but it just wasn't asked of him. And
Yeah,
at 4-4-2, he wasn't being asked to do
there's
that.
all chance in the world. Because, again, I think we've all been numbed by how young this team is. There's all the chance in the world that Serginho Dest is going to go down as the best right back the U.S. has ever had.
He could.
Absolutely.
But right
possible.
now, I would still take Steve Cherundolo over Serginho
Fair
Dest.
enough. Yeah.
Center back, you're no surprise here. I'm not picking anyone off this team for best center backs of all time. And this is a personal preference because I think there's a number of guys you could talk about here.
Yeah.
I personally went with two guys that I personally like as defenders, and that's Eddie Pope
Yes.
and Carlos Bocanegra.
Right. Well, then you get the right.
I
foot,
almost
left foot
put
thing,
Marcelo
too.
Barcelona. I was Marcelo Balboa in there. Excuse me.
Man,
I almost put
Marcelo
Marcelo.
Barcelona's
I almost put
it's an
Marcelo
incredible
Balboa
name.
in there. But when I'm talking about, I just at the end of the day, I went with Bocanegra instead.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not going to have a beef with that. You could.
I see shots for Agus. Agus played both left back and center back as well, and I just don't think in the modern game,
I
don't know that
think
he would stand up as well.
The only name that even comes to mind is Gooch, but I don't think Gooch got there,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't say Gooch.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Gooch at his top level sometimes showed that prowess, but I think Bocanegra and Pope had consistency.
Right, and we're right. So I think that I don't know. Look, who knows what would have happened? And unfortunately, the guy he'll be 30-ish when we get to the next World Cup, I think. But Miles Robinson maybe had a chance to kind of build into that kind of player. But this injury has really stopped all his momentum. He's not that young compared to the other guys on this team. But he's a center back. So he's 25, 26. He's a center back though, so he can still play in another World Cup.
Here's a good question for you. If Jonathan Brooks had made this squad, would you be thinking about him?
Okay, so you're only working off the 26-man World Cup roster. Yeah. He might. Well, So for the national team,
I don't know if
unfortunately,
he's shown as well for the national team. As
well,
he
but
has
so
for his club teams, yeah.
unfortunately, he was injured for Cuba, but I think he missed out for Cuba because of injury. Unfortunately, that missed World Cup really is a black mark on him, even if he wasn't the reason it happened that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that Cuba backline was the pairing was Omar Gonzalez and Matt Beasler.
It was not good.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was not good.
Let's go to the midfield. I got 3-man midfield. In these spots, I have Tyler Adams as the
I think
defensive midfielder.
if we're talking about pure number 6, it has to be Tyler. There's not. I don't know. There's been a better pure number 6.
And I told myself I want a pure 6. That's what I told myself when I was making this decision. I wanted a formation. I don't like to make formations that can't actually play.
We've had good holding midfielders who weren't nearly as good defensively, but were better with the ball.
In my mind, and I've said this a number of times, Chris Armas was the best number 6 I've ever seen for the U.S. until Tyler Adams. But we've never seen him play at a World Cup. He never got the chance to do that. So I don't know that I feel disingenuous putting Chris Armas there. Then you're talking about Michael Bradley, Rico Clark. I mean, Mastroeni.
So
I just don't. I think there's a two-man conversation. It's Adams or
the
Bradley.
problem with this conversation
Armas,
is that. So I know you're looking at Adams over Bradley. They are so different as players, right? But what Bradley did that Adams can't do, for me, might cancel out what Adams can do that Bradley couldn't. You know what I'm saying? So Bradley, people don't remember how good Michael Bradley was distributing the ball from that position. They do not remember. I don't know why there's a memory hole. Michael Bradley was incredible.
Thing. That's what
he was not the best athlete in that position. The U.S., generally speaking, covered for that with other players.
And I would make the argument he's not really a 6. He's more of a box-to-box guy. We may play a 6.
Yeah, that's true. He did get pushed back. There was the whole Jones-Bradley issue. Remember, they were playing as a double pivot, and we had an issue with who was going and who was staying, and they couldn't figure it out for a while.
So
yeah,
for me,
he's not.
I'm going Tyler
So
Adams.
if you're putting us in a 6? No. If you're putting us in a 4-3-3 box with a lone 6, it's Tyler Adams.
That's what I choose to play. You know, and does that benefit my argument? Yeah, it does. But the two creative players, maybe 8 and a 10. I'm not sure how you want to think of our 2 8s. I'm going here. Claudio Reyna.
Really, to be fair to the older guys, you probably should go with 1 box to box and 1 more number 10.
That's kind of what I did here. That's kind of what I did here. So my box to box, I would consider more of a Claudio Reyna.
Okay.
And Claudio Reyna in his prime, box to box.
Sure.
Creative as well. Claudio Reyna is probably the most complete midfielder that the U.S. has ever produced in whole. Maybe you could talk John O'Brien, which was hard for me. Spoiler alert, I did not put John O'Brien in this list. But I think Claudio Reyna.
I mean, okay, O'Brien played there, but
I'm just saying it's a midfielder, John O'Brien. I know. About the best midfielder we've ever created is probably Claudio Reyna.
Okay.
And he could do everything.
Okay.
The guy could do everything in his time.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, 4 World Cups? 4 World Cups.
Well, he didn't play in '94, did he?
Yeah, he
He
played.
didn't play. He played in '94?
Well, he was on the bench. I don't remember if he got minutes.
He was on the
He was on the
squad.
team.
I don't think he played. He was on the team.
Still, he
but
gets
didn't
credit.
play.
He gets credit for going to a World Cup. I can't remember. Maybe he got sub minutes.
He was like 19 too. When we just didn't do that. That was not a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we had college guys who had no pro experience, but they're all 22, 23, 24, and he was like 19, I think. In that team.
So Claudio Reyna was a pretty easy pick for me because he's just glue. Who knows? One day maybe we're talking about his son usurping this spot, but right now it's Claudio Reyna's.
Well, the problem with that is that Gio doesn't play in that position right now, so we don't know if he could usurp his dad.
Ultimately, we don't know what's going to end up being. You know,
that's true. That's true.
The other midfield position I took here, and for me this was a 2-man race here.
Okay,
I went with Tab Ramos. I think Tab Ramos is
the best technical player the U.S. ever produced up until this
chose
current
to make
generation.
A true 10. I tried to play a true 10 in this position, and I don't know if there's been a better creative midfielder than Tab Ramos that we've created.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably true. But this team doesn't play with that player. So, again, you have an issue with
it's an all-time team. I just wanted to tell you. I told you I was going to do a 6, 8, and a 10. I told you I was going to do a 6, 8, and a 10.
I know, but it just gets into a question of, like, do you value that number 10 player more than you value the work that, say, I'm not saying McKennie's on Tab's level necessarily, but McKennie and Tab and, at points, Landon was playing in midfield. You're going to take him as a forward?
Spoiler alert.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. So where we've got 3. Okay, so you got your 3
my front
midfielders.
3 is a little bit problematic. I'm not going to lie to you. But
Okay.
At times, any of these guys could play these positions. Let's just say it that way. Okay.
You've
My
got to
front
have an
three.
out and out number 9, though, right? That's a fact.
It
of this
depends what you
line.
call a 9.
Eesh, okay. All right.
I'll
I'm
tell
a
you,
cla-
these
I'm a
guys have
classic
played
back to goal
striker at
guy.
some point in their lives.
Okay. All right.
All right, so I am putting if I got 3-man front line,
Yeah.
my number 9,
Uh-huh.
I'm choosing to call number 9.
Okay.
I'm going with Clint Dempsey.
I think this is
I get
cheating,
it.
but
I
that's
get it.
okay.
I get
think
it.
it's cheating.
I
think
get it.
that's cheating.
But I wasn't going to not put him in this team and have these other guys. I think he's one of the best forwards we've ever made, obviously.
Are we walking? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, would
I'm
you
listening,
rather
I'm
have...
listening. No, I'm
Would you
listening.
rather-
I got to know what your whole thing is before I can judge.
Well,
it,
let me get
'cause
all
that's
three
not
out
fair.
here. Here's just the 3.
Yeah.
Here's the 3.
Okay.
Landon Donovan,
Yeah.
Clint Dempsey,
Yeah.
Christian Pulisic. I'm choosing to
I think
say that at this
I
point.
think you have to put Pulisic in this. I think
I
you
think
have
so.
to put
I think
Pulisic.
that his track record to this point, he's on an arc better than anyone prior, and
Yeah.
his abilities still warrant it. Granted, he's having a little bit of a weird time right now, but I think I'm going to choose to reward what he's done so far and say he's
Yeah.
worthy
Yeah.
of that discussion. So yes, I thought about Brian McBride. I thought about Josie Altidore. I thought
Yeah.
about Eric Winalda. I thought
Yeah.
about all these guys. But at the end of the day, honestly, this is a Berhalter front 3. What I gave you right now, this is a front 3 that would play in Berhalter's system.
I could see. You know what? I mean, if Dempsey is kind of doing a Jesus
Maybe you put
Ferreira
Donovan, you
kind
flip
of
you
thing.
put Donovan in the middle in the front instead of Dempsey. I'm not sure, but I want that
could- you
Dempsey's
could do
aerial
that.
ability is better than Donovan's. That's why I would
That's
put
true. But again, I think either way, Dempsey or Donovan, you're not asking them to play as a physical back to goal number 9. You're asking them to drop in, and this is the way that Berhalter set the team to play off when
And
Ferreira's on the
listen,
field.
I don't agree. Like Baloco 5 right here says McBride is best 9. I don't disagree with that, but if you put McBride in this lineup of all time, you're dropping either Dempsey, Donovan,
Dempsey
or
or
Pulisic.
Donovan. Or Pulisic, yeah.
Like, are you dumping any of those 3 to give Brian McBride in this
So
team?
the way
Me,
as soon
no.
as you said it, I'm thinking of Dempsey dropping deep to pick up the ball, which he absolutely would do because he wants the ball. He wants to go do some shit with the ball. He would drop in, and now you've got. And I'm not saying it would function necessarily all that well, but now you've got Donovan sort of doing the Tim Weah thing. I mean, he's better with the ball in front of him running into space than trying to like beat a guy off the dribble and trying to get to the end line and crossing the ball. But he's certainly capable of the verticality, right? And then Pulisic's still
let me
doing
do something
Pulisic
to
things.
eclipse all the arguments about people wanting McBride or their favorite striker, whoever that might be. I'm going to eclipse
Okay.
and I'm going to dunk on all those arguments right now.
Okay.
Name me
First time
another
you've ever
striker.
dunked in your life.
Name me another striker I didn't mention with more goals than those 2 guys.
Then Dempsey and
can't.
Donovan? No,
You can't.
No,
They're the
you can't.
biggest leading scorers of all time in their time.
Yeah, I mean, but again, this comes back to your argument, to the whole thing being about judging a whole career versus what these guys have been doing for a year and a half or 2
no,
years.
I'm talking
in some
about
cases.
McBride. I'm talking about versus McBride.
Oh, okay,
like
I see what you're saying.
and Altidore and Winalda, they have more goals than all of them.
Yeah.
Dempsey and Donovan, they have more goals than all of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. I mean, there's so many variables here, right? Just in terms of who was getting them the ball and who they were playing against and the way that teams
And I love
played
this,
and
Clint
all this.
Mathis. I could tell you right now that for 6 months there was a time where Clint Mathis was one of the
White
best,
hot.
one of the
White
best
hot.
strikers on the planet. There's a couple of years there where Clint Mathis could play for anyone. I guarantee
Yeah.
you that.
Yeah.
But we're not having a question about who's had the best 1 or 2 years in their career. We're talking about who's worthy of greatness.
Jackie's asking about, and well, maybe we just throw this on the pile here. 2022 starting lineup versus the 2014 start. Stop it! Somebody click it. You click.
I didn't do it.
2014. It's me because Nick was going to do it. So there you go. 2014 starting lineup, and I don't. The United States can start the same lineup in all 3 of those.
Now we're looking at a 4-4-2,
stage
right?
matches.
If I'm not mistaken, over 4-3-3.
Let me pull this up. You want to look at so they lost to Ghana, or they beat Ghana, sorry. They beat Ghana in the opener, of course. Do you want to look at that lineup and use that one?
Yeah, that's probably a good one to
Okay.
start with.
Now, remember,
Because-
John Brooks came off the bench in that game because he scored, but he was off the bench in that game.
Yeah, he was not a legitimate starter at that point for that team.
Not at that point. Okay. That team had Tim Howard in goal, Matt Beasler, and Jeff Cameron as starting center backs.
Just stop right there. Let's go center back to center backs. Beasler and Cameron versus Zimmerman and let's say, do you want to say Ream? Or do you want to say
Sure. Everybody wants Reem to start. I think Long is still going to start in the first game. But
All right,
let's
say
Reem.
Zimmer. Okay, you want to say Reem? Okay,
Sure.
Which one are you taking between those two?
I mean, Beasler had a good run with the national team. I'm not going to pretend like he was terrible the whole time. Somebody's pointing that out.
I'm taking this one.
I'm taking this one. I think I'm taking
Now,
this
if it was
one.
John Brooks and Beasler, I may feel differently about that.
Well, but that John Brooks was like 21 years old, and I don't know.
he's still
he was
pretty good, man.
Okay.
He's still pretty good.
All right. Fullbacks, Fabian Johnson on the right and Run DMB on the left.
I'm gonna take our fullbacks now.
You're going to take our fullbacks now. Okay.
One of
that's
them's Andy Robinson. That's
that's
chalk.
fair.
And
Yeah,
I think
and the other
Fabian
one's
Johnson's a
Serginho
better
Dest,
defender than Serginho Dest, but Serginho Dest going forward.
Yeah. The midfield against Ghana was Michael Bradley, Jermaine Jones, Alejandro Bedoya, and Kyle Beckerman. We played what, like a narrow, like a diamond in that game? Is that what we did? We played two holders with
Double pivot, yeah. I think Beckerman played.
Where did Bedoya play though? Those guys played on the. They didn't play wide. They weren't wide players in a 4-4-2.
I can't even remember at this point, man. Ugh. So I would take. I do it wrong.
You
I
have
think
to
the
now.
spine. I think the spine of that might be better than our spine defensively. I think defensively that team is obviously better, but it's
Sure.
built to be defensive. It's not
Yes.
built to do anything other than neutralize threats. You got
Yeah.
three defensive midfielders in that 4-man lineup we just talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I think our midfield's better now.
Well, no, that's not necessarily fair. I think Jones was.
These two teams are built to do different things, though. These
Sure,
teams are built to do
sure.
different things. But I would
Clint
take our
Dempsey-
I would take our midfield now.
I would too.
I would
Clint
take
Dempsey
some
and
of the
Josie
guys
Allen.
on the second string of our midfield now over that.
Oh.
If you talk about Aronson, Reyna, and De La Torre all maybe being in the midfield and not starting.
It depends on the makeup of the midfield, how functional it is. But that's fine. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Dempsey and Altidore started up top, with Altidore coming off early because of the injury, right? Which brought on Aaron Johansson.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, again, John Brooks came on and scored the winner.
And then up front,
Clint Dempsey scored the first couple minutes of that game. What was the first minute?
up
of
front
that
is
game?
Dempsey and Altidore. That was the starters
Yes.
up front.
Yes. Now,
I mean,
it's not,
maybe
again,
I'm
it's
taking
two,
that strikers.
It's two forwards versus Vibe Squad guys, which is
Yeah.
three and width and verticality. And if you put those two guys, Dempsey and Altidore, up against Pulisic and Weah, forget the center forward for a second.
Then I would
Just in
pick,
terms of-
I would pick our guys versus that just because I can't. Well, it's just such a hard conversation because
Yeah,
are
it's
we
not
asking
functional,
Dempsey? Are we asking Altidore and Dempsey to play in the 3-man system we have? Or are we asking Weah and Pulisic to play in the 2-man system that they were in? I'm not sure.
I mean, it would.
They're both built to-
conceptually, it would work better with a 3-man system.
I
with
think the
Dempsey
better
on one side
conversation, Jason,
and Altidore
is
in the middle.
I think
Yeah.
the better conversation is Dempsey and Altidore. Are any of our 3 number 9s would we swap for either of those two guys? And I would not.
No.
I would not.
No.
I would play either of those guys at the 9 right now.
No.
At the 9.
Yeah,
No, we're not
yes,
talking
that's
about
fair.
wide. I'm talking at the 9
That's
in the
fair.
center of the center striker.
Yeah, and to be fair to Clint Dempsey, who I said would absolutely drop in and try to get on the ball if he was playing center forward in a 4-3-3, the way that the U.S. plays now, if you asked him to be a back to goal number 9 classic center forward, he would try. He would do the work, and he'd probably be fairly successful at it because he was that kind of player. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And for those of you guys who are
Well,
wondering why we didn't talk about Donovan, this was 2014. He wasn't in the squad.
No, I think we knew that, right?
Some people
somebody
may
forgot?
it's a sensitive subject, man. We all
You know,
want to forget it.
we mentioned Clint Dempsey like 12 times.
Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. What?
That's him calling Tim Weah's, against Mexico, the assist to Pulisic.
So
I also have, hold on, I have another, what's my other Dempsey thing? I thought I had another Dempsey thing. I have to find it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So in short, in making my all-time 11, I think personally, 3 guys break into that right now as they are, as what they've done so far in their careers and their abilities to this point have demonstrated themselves worthy. Now, Andy Robinson could drop out. I think that was the easiest place to get into on left back.
Nah, it would be drop out. Like you pick somebody else to go in there. Eddie Lewis is the
if his
guy?
career was over right now, I wouldn't still be saying. I think he's still like, I don't know, maybe he even dropped off. Right, if his career is over right now, he's probably been the best left back we've ever had. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
Tyler Adams. I think that's not easy, but I think it's justifiable. I think some people will have issue with maybe Christian Pulisic only because it means I have to also include Dempsey and Donovan. You know?
It's a fun conversation, but if some of it falls apart when you talk about how those previous teams played, how this team plays, what roles are available. You're not comparing like-for-like players. It's not like you're saying that Michael Bradley comes up behind Tyler Adams because he can't do what Tyler Adams does. You're saying that in this system with a 4-3-3, you need a Tyler Adams and not a
just
Michael
to
Bradley.
cover my bases. Is there any player in this 2026 squad that I didn't talk about that you think maybe deserves consideration?
Let's see. I mean, I can't put. Wow, it's crazy because obviously
Gio Reyna's the one everyone wants to talk about, but he just hasn't done enough.
talent-wise. No, talent. But that's the thing. Again, you're trying to judge these guys versus Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Gio Reyna is more talented than everybody you mentioned,
There's
except
four
for
guys.
maybe Tab Ramos.
Yeah,
and
there's
his
four
dad,
guys that-
possibly his dad.
And maybe John O'Brien. You know, like there's it's different kind of talent though. John O'Brien did something different. It was a holding kind of play. It was different, you know, and with more like Yunus Musa, to be honest with you, advancing the ball and actually never mind, more like McKinney. More like McKinney. But there's a couple of guys in the history of the U.S. national team that have that type of talent we're talking about, and we're not even talking about Landon Donovan. Is Landon Donovan and Gio Reyna? Like we didn't mention him in that talent. We mentioned midfielders. Does that tip the hand of what we truly think about Gio Reyna? We just mentioned all midfielders when we talked about him.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand why everybody wants him to play in the midfield. He does feel more like a midfielder than he does a forward in this system. So yeah, I don't know. It is interesting.
I think he's the only one in this system right now. Maybe Musa one day I think Musa and Reyna have the chance that one day we're talking about them in this conversation out of this team.
Not the center backs, not the goalkeeper. Well, Matt Turner could.
He's starting so late. I guess keepers
No,
get
he's
to go
not.
later though.
He's not starting that late. How old is Matt Turner at this point? 26? Is he 28 already?
I don't know, somewhere in that range.
I feel like he's younger than that. No, you're right. He's 28. Okay. So he only has, he has
It's
this
longer
World
amount of
Cup
time
and,
to do it,
and
though.
potentially another World Cup. You're right. So maybe it's too late for him because, Timmy Howard, he became the starter in 2010. He was there in 2014. I guess he would have gone to the World Cup in 2018 as the starter.
Yeah.
Would probably shouldn't have been there,
He was
though.
starting Kuva.
He shouldn't have been there, though. I mean, I'm sure I can't remember who was behind him that we were like, oh, maybe somebody
Guzan,
else
I
should get
believe.
that job. Yeah. Probably wasn't Guzan's day either. I don't know. So not the fullback. Not the center backs, not the goalkeeper. Left back, as you said, is already determined, at least in your mind.
Des has a long way to come. He's got a long ways to go.
Des has got a ways to go.
He's
I think that's probably
inconsistent.
fair to say. I don't think you could even say like the depth guys that are probably not going to play a lot. Like Scally's not going to. We don't know. Maybe
That's too early.
Maybe
Too
Scally
early.
could be that guy, but it's too early.
Too early.
Yeah, midfield wise, outside of the guys we've already talked about, there's nothing. There are players coming up behind them who we can be excited about, but they're not in this team. They're not in the World Cup team now.
Yeah,
and
They're
then
not close
and
to
then
elite
it's
level yet.
Aronson. Man, Aronson, I don't know. Do you get the vibe that I think Aronson could hit a very high, but I just don't know if it's going to ever fit perfectly.
The problem
with the
is,
national
I
team.
think where a lot of people have a problem giving him his due when you talk about big conversations like this is that he still has the rap of being industry over technique. And I think that he has to shed that before he gets put into the levels of being compared to the people that we're talking about right now. Because when we talk about it,
look, give the man credit. He's starting to do it at Leeds.
Yes,
he's
agreed.
popping up with
Agreed.
those moments where it's
Yep.
like, oh, he doesn't just buzz around and get
maybe
the ball.
if he had a forward, we'd be having a different conversation right now.
Well,
Maybe those things are
Somerville's scoring goals for him, but are they also going to help him on the other side? The defending at Leeds United is like, man, I watched that game. And it is.
I thought they were done.
It is like this. Like it is you
At 1-0,
can't-
I was like, oh, can you just finish a 1-0 game? At 2-1, I was like, oh, great, I'll take this. 2-1.
No.
Just finish a
No.
2-1 game.
No.
Good Lord.
No, it was nuts. Before we get out of here, Dan earlier asked about my jersey. I will share that this is a Kansas City Comets indoor jersey. What are they? MASL? Massel? I think it's Massel these days, Major Arena Soccer League. So and they gave it to me when I was in Kansas City for the coaches convention.
Oh, it's a
last
current
year.
team.
Yeah, they still exist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's there it is. All right. Anything else, Mr. Dubois? Before we,
I think
before
that's
we
it.
book
What we need to do is we'll have a show. We're not sure yet if it's going to be a Sunday night show or a Monday post show yet after the game. We're waiting to get some clearances with
I will say that
WNBC.
I don't know that it makes any sense at all to do a Sunday night show with a game the next day.
I feel the
I don't
same
know
way.
that makes a lot of sense. Unless you
It makes
guys
sense
just
for
want
YouTube. It doesn't make sense for a podcast.
How about this? And we haven't talked about this at all, so I'm throwing this out, spitballing on the air. Maybe we do a live show. It'll end up on YouTube, but maybe we don't put it out as a pod. And if you want to watch it, like if you want to participate, you're going to have to be here. Maybe we just push that, like a anxiety release the day before the game. Community, yeah, where everybody just brings their stuff that they need to get off their chest on Sunday night.
Maybe. Let's just float it, but the preferred option is to do a post-game show.
I would love to do a post-game show as soon as I find out what my responsibilities are. WNBC. Then I will. I'll let you guys know because that would be fun. That would be the right thing to do for us. Yeah. I mean, what is it, Jared? Never missed a World Cup when the best soccer show was around.
Do you really
We're
want
back in the World Cup? Feel like we need to be there to celebrate the fact that we brought the World Cup back for the United States.
To celebrate
of
a victory over Wales.
Yeah. What kind of superstition things do I need to do? Man, are you a superstitious guy? You don't believe in God? Are you superstitious?
Nah, I don't really have any kind of superstitious stuff I do. Oh, you know what?
Yeah?
When I fly, there's a song I have to listen to as I take off, and it puts me to like calmness. That's it.
What's that one? What's this song?
World Spins Madly On by the Weepies. It's just super calm and delicate and makes me kind of like, everything's gonna be all right.
All right. That's weird. Let's get out of here. Talk to you guys hopefully soon. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Damn, dog, that's inappropriate.
Hey, Ron, where are you? It was there.
Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. Wet.
Take us to DEFCON 3.
Who asked those questions?
Get to the chopper!
Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
What are we doing?
The Sausage King of Chicago.
Danger zone! Jay Rodius.